I always say the selection process in picking a partner or becoming married to someone is probably the most important decision you'll make in your life. You always hear me on other shows where I'm been a guest on before, where I say picking the right spouse is almost equivalent to picking a jury in a big time civil or murder trial, because that's half the battle is picking the right jury. Well, half the battle in a long term relationship or marriage is picking the right partner. And so if you pick the right person, it makes this transition and makes this thing that we go through called life a little bit easier, because you have to pick the right person. And it's not always going to be the one that looks the best. It's not always going to be the one who you think is the best. Sometimes it's somebody who you least expect. Sometimes it has some ironic twist to it, as they would say. So sometimes that does happen. The reason why I want to do this too is I noticed that we don't really put a lot of arithmetic in our choices that we're making today. So oftentimes I'll hear people saying what they're actually looking for in a partner or a husband or a wife, but the mathematics and the arithmetic don't really add up. The chances of them getting that are probably in a lot of situations less than 5%. So we're at a point now where we're just holding out hope that we're going to get exactly what we want in these relationships. And we're wasting so much time because we're not going to find it, because it's such a very slim chance in the first place. But we're still holding out that hope that maybe one day we'll get it. But we're probably not going to get it with a chance of, chances of that low. When you're talking about in the single digits, it's really probably not going to happen. But I read a lot of books, especially on this investing in finance. And I just want to make a disclaimer. This show is not, we're not financial advisors or CFPs. This is just for informational purposes only. If you want any information pertaining to how to invest your money or do anything like that, you need to consult with a financial advisor or a CFP. And they may be able to point you in a much better direction. This is just for informational purposes. But in a lot of these books that I have read, one thing I hear a phrase sometimes that pops up, and it talks about arithmetic. And the phrase is, arithmetic is the first of all of the sciences, and it's the mother of safety. Well, if we picked our partners based upon that premise, I think we would do very well. The problem is we don't pick on those. We pick on more exterior things, the aesthetics, the vibes, the height, all these other things that don't really matter. And we leave out the most important part, which is the arithmetic. What's likely going to happen? What's in our best advantage? What's the probability? We don't look at those things. Money is usually either the first or second leading cause of divorce, depending on what poll or stat or anything like that you use. It's always near the top. And so we have to always be aware of that. So if that's the case, and it's always near the top, this is something that we need to clarify prior to any type of a marriage. These are things we need to sit down and discuss with ourselves and even maybe a professional prior to a marriage, so that we can both be on the same page. One thing I hear a lot of is sometimes when you ask a woman how much does she want the guy to make, the salary is usually just very high or insurmountable number for most people in the country. And sometimes they don't realize that they are asking essentially for a millionaire. But here's a stat on millionaires that'll surprise you if you're single. 86% of millionaires are already married. And the average age of a millionaire, I believe, is 61 years old. So they're already married. Most of them are off the dating market, and they are older. So if your chances of you finding a young millionaire is very, very slim.